What up, guys? Dr. Vic here, and you are listening to another episode here on the Mindful Experiment. Excited to have you on. And this topic is something that's dear to me, something that I had to learn when I came out of chiropractic school. Is one of these things. I had this passion, I had this fire. I wanted to save the world and help people understand what health really was. And I was going to be that savior for them. Yeah, savior complex. I know I had issues with that. But long story short, I started to learn over time that I was doing things all wrong. That it was an external factor that I was looking at rather than an internal factor, and I didn't really understand the importance of who I am, why I'm here, and how my energy imprint, my frequency that I live at, can actually influence and change the world. And so then I started to reflect away from what I can do into instead of who I can be. Now, this is very huge. Now, you can understand this very quickly intellectually, but from an energy standpoint, from a feeling standpoint, this is monumental. This is huge. It's a game changer, not only for your life, but for the life of everyone you're interacting with. See, there was something that I read that I shared. If you guys have not yet checked out my Discord app, you can check it out in the show notes. I leave it in there. I have the first 100 available to where you guys can come on. And I have two aspects to it that I share. You can always say, hey, doc, don't want this one, just want that one. But I share health and I share mindset stuff on there. And I have a plethora of topics, all free, available to you. So people who are on the Discord, they already know who's I interviewed coming up on a Friday, because most of the time I'll share it on a Wednesday of who they are, share their bio, their rap sheet, all that good stuff. So you kind of have a gist of who am I going to be interviewing and knowing. So you guys have a knowing ahead of time rather than what the public gets. So tap into that. Check out the show notes there. But one of the things I shared on this is I was looking at something and it was just fascinating. I thought I needed to share. And it said, the finest souls are those who gulp pain and avoid making others taste it. Now, this is critical, and this relates 100% to the episode of today. Now, the reason why is because in life, the reason why bad things exist is because of the lack of love. Okay. Very simple, right? Very common. Like, okay, here we go again. It's a cliche, but it's very true. I know this personally through the things that I had to go through, the messed up relationships that I had failed relationships. I had failed different aspects of my life. And it feels like I failed way more than I have been successful in. But I guess that's just part of life, right? But it's one of the things where I've learned over time that what I was doing was actually what I had within. And I started to understand the mechanisms of, wow, if I just heal myself, then maybe I would change who I am, how I react, how I communicate, and how I talk to people, and my experience of life. And what I learned over time is that when I started to focus more on my beingness and become more mindful of who I am, my experiences, my relationships, and everything else I do in my life. When I say relationships, I just don't mean with partners. I also mean with family and friends and coworkers and colleagues. And if you have a business and you have clients that you take care of or things along that nature, for me, it's my patients. But looking at every fabric and letting it be your teacher, you start to open the door to inward of what you need to work on. And the beautiful thing about the universe is it's always going to provide to you what you need to work on. It's going to show it up in your life. So when you're like, oh, I'm having a bad day, or man, this person's really stressing me out, stop looking externally. Start looking internally, because there's something inside you that's making you irritate. The body will repel what it is in a certain way. It doesn't, if you're hitting something, especially if you're resisting a lot within, let's say you're trying to hold something down. What will happen is the body, when you have an experience with something that is something related to what you're holding down, you're going to explode. You're going to get triggered a lot faster. And so what I've learned over time is that if you can focus on you and heal you, that breaks the chains. That breaks the stuff that holds you down to the level of life of what you want to experience. And when you're able to do just that, it's a game changer. Your whole life changes. Because you have to understand this one premise. And this premise is that everything in this universe is energy, frequencies, and vibrations. That's all it is. right? There's a certain vibration, a certain frequency. And when you're at that frequency, then that's what you experience in your life. And so you have to be very mindful. Nothing happens to you, everything happens through you. I talk a lot about this in my first book called Rediscover Your Greatness. Highly recommend checking it out. It's on Amazon and everywhere. But it's one of those things where I break down all these principles. So if you like what I'm talking about, I have podcasts on it. You have to go scroll through it. But if you want a complete guide, just check out the book. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. Not because I wrote it. It's more from the reviews and the effects of what it had on people. That kind of was like overwhelming for me in a sense, like in a good way. But it's one of those things that you need to look at your life and say, okay, how is my life being my teacher? How are the relationships? Because the relationships are really your curriculum. How you have relations with others and yourself is the curriculum for your life to help you break through those barriers. I truly believe it's all our purpose to keep on elevating to the highest level we possibly can in this lifetime to get the most of this life as much as we possibly can. And if you can do that, then you hit your soul's mark. You hit the purpose of why you're here. And your soul will get the most experience it could possibly can, sometimes even more than what it may have planned. Don't know if that's true, if it can happen. But it's one of the things that you can level up in your life in so many ways and find that freedom that you seek, that we all seek. And this is one of the ways to do that. And the beautiful thing about working within yourself is that when you focus on your beingness and everything becomes a curriculum, you start to level up. And when you level up, you help the world give the opportunity to do the same. You help liberate others from so if you're dealing with a pain that you had as a child or an issue that you had growing up and it's still within you in some way and you haven't healed that, when you heal that, not only do you help yourself, you help everyone in your family line going backwards and forwards, and on top of that you help others in the same process to give them a better chance, a better opportunity to heal in that process. How powerful is that? And that's how you save the world. That's how you make a difference. That's how you transform things, because that is the essence of what it takes to create massive transformation in the world. And that is what we're doing now. We've been doing this for years. I've been in the spiritual world or understanding, when I say spiritual, we're all spiritual at the end of the day. But it's one of the things where you're looking at spiritual principles and universal laws and spiritual laws and things that ancient traditions have been talking about for eons that I've studied over time and learned to be true. And it's one of the things that there are more and more people finding this truth. And what's happening is we're shaking the ground of the old mold of the earth and we're breaking it down. But at the same time, we're giving birth to a new. And this new is going to be more than what we could ever imagine. It's already happening. It's already existing. This is why you're seeing more of the negatives or the dark side of things in this world right now, coming out more and more and more. There's a reason behind that is you got to shake those things out. You got to bring them to the light so they can heal. And once they heal, then we can transcend into the new realms. And so we are in the midst of all this. It's really exciting times to be alive. And even if I'm saying this during a COVID and a pandemic and all those things, I'm telling you that it is an amazing time. And if you did the work during COVID, you are probably experiencing massive growth in your life in all areas. I know I have been. I've talked to other colleagues of mine who do this consistent work over and over, and their life has massively transformed for the better. And I said, every time there comes darkness in the world, hard times, right? The beautiful thing about it is there's a massive opportunity for growth, a massive opportunity to really rise up and really break through to change and level up faster than normal. And so if you took advantage of that, that is awesome. But coming back to the point of this podcast really quick, as I shared that quote with you, when you can heal the pain within, you don't want to share it with others. So when there's harm, usually, and this is true, I've studied this and I really believe this to be 100% like absolute truth, is that when you see somebody do harm to someone else, it is because the harm that was done to them has not been healed yet. And so they're making you taste the same thing. If you have anger, we're going to be angry to someone else. This is what parents do to the children, the children basically. If they don't heal things, they pass those down to the children. Now, parents aren't doing this consciously; they're mostly doing this unconsciously. And this is why I work so hard on myself. I know still to this day I'm going to pass things down that I'm unconscious of. But as long as I can get as much as I can clear and pure within, and work on myself and be mindful as much as I possibly can, I give my child or my children the better chance to not carry on the ancestral curses that have been passed down over the eons. So that's what I have for you guys today. And imagine we're all one big family here in the human world. So when we heal, we give opportunities for others to do the same. And we give them opportunities to share or experience or express something that is different than what they were used to. And when we go through this, we are breaking the chains on us. And we're getting closer to more emotional freedom, more of the return of who we really are, which is bliss, peace, and calm, and truly embracing the beauty of this life that we have here, because it is really a beautiful process and it's a beautiful journey. But you have to see it that way. And then from there, once you start to truly see it and believe it, then all of a sudden you'll experience it. So that's what I got for you guys today. As always, appreciate you being on, tuning in. If this is your first time, please subscribe so you don't miss any of the podcasts. We do 2 a week. And as you've been a subscriber, thank you for your support. Thank you for staying, being a subscriber and staying tuned to the podcast. We appreciate you. But as always, guys, I'll be back on next week. And until next time, keep rocking and rolling.